You're the all-American boy. A safety-first Clyde.
Are you trying to say something?
I never try anything. I just do it.
All right, if that's true, happy welcome to New Labour starting off anniversary Film Ireland podcast. I'm Richard, that is Sarah, giving us a political history lesson about the Labour Party, who have an election coming up, I guess. We're not talking about that.
Also, that's the British one.
Yeah, so. It doesn't matter to us.
Okay, yeah.
Well, it does, because United Ireland might happen out of it.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever. Look, films. It's been a while. The Oscars have come and gone since last we did this, so broadly speaking, the right people won. Did they, Sarah? Did they not? I can't recall who won now. I know Moonlight won, which it should have, and obviously that hilarious guffaw.
Oh, yeah. Because I was about to say, I thought it was La La Land.
It was very topical satire 2 months ago that we were doing here. Look at us.
That's it.
Yeah, so since there's too much news to cover in the last 2 months, let's just not really do news, because we couldn't possibly cover all of it. And let's quickly skim over some things that annoy or we noticed. James Cameron finally confirmed production is starting on Avatar 2 through 5, or is it through 2 through 6? I can't recall now. 2020, I think, is Avatar 2's release date, and then they're going to be a yearly thing after that. Do you remember anything about the first one other than existing?
No, not really.
No.
But also, that just sounds like the next one is going to be a really amazing visual thing, and then after that, they're just going to chuck stuff at the screen for a couple of years, for 4 years.
Well, apparently, so an inside source that a friend of a friend thing said that the reason it's taking so long to get it made is because he's trying to use 360 something or other, which I assume is the next thing after IMAX. But presumably, in my mind, that means it's either VR glasses or like a wraparound 360 screen, which is massively impractical, and I can't see many cinemas installing.
Yeah.
Like, the thing with 3D back in 2010 was that, that's a feasible thing for every cinema to install, and then they'll get use out of that. But no one's going to use a 360-degree wraparound screen or pay for hundreds upon hundreds of VR headsets for cinema goers. So if that's true, that's stupid, James. Don't do it. Also, just don't make these movies. I know the first one is the highest grossing film of all time somehow, but no one cares. Name a single character. Was Sigourney Weaver in that? I think she was. Main guy was played by Sam Worthington. His career's really gone everywhere since. Just don't do it. No one wants... Make another Terminator movie instead. They're not quite as bad. Avatar. Speaking of films that shouldn't have many sequels as they have, Fast and the Furious is making all of the money. It beat Star Wars for opening box office weekend. Did you hear that?
Oh, okay.
Force Awakens had the record for biggest opening box office of all time. Fast and Furious 8 beat that. Which just, I don't know what that says about the modern world or culture or things, but that is the reality we live in. But to that end, there is a spin-off coming starring Jason Statham and The Rock's characters. And honestly, I kind of really want that. Because he just cut out, the Tyrese Gibsons of this world, the Vin Diesels of this world. There's a decent, goofy action movie in there without the family and the barbecues.
Yeah.
She said very trepidatiously.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's definitely something in there. I would enjoy if they never mentioned Vin Diesel's character at all. I think, because they do seem to like their continuity, at least to a certain degree. So it would be good if they were just like, we've known each other for 10 years. We're best friends. We don't have another friend. Let's drive cars
into the sunset.
Canyons, yeah.
But it does seem baffling because, I mean, the previous movie before this one, Vin Diesel, or Statham's obviously the villain, so suddenly the fact that he's now just palling around with The Rock, who was his arch nemesis a movie ago, is just really weird.
Well, our expert knowledge might explain why when we talk about
we'll review that later on.
Furious, yes.
And then the other bit of news that was amusing to us that Sarah brought up was that the film is not getting made, which so rarely happens these days. So Alien, I think it was being called Alien 5, just inverted commas, which would have starred allegedly Sigourney Weaver and Michael Bain, the guy that was Hicks in Aliens.
Okay.
The male, the guy that was the other male main character. Yeah, him. It's supposed to be both of them, but they would have used, CGI to de-age them.
Oh, okay.
Well, you see, and I kind of agree, that could go either Grand Moff Tarkin, or it could go, the Marvel movies level de-aging, which is actually weirdly good most of the time. Yeah, so that was going to happen, and now it's not, I guess. Which makes sense, because it would have retconned 2 of the later, not very good Alien movies, but also Ridley Scott seems keen to just keep making these till he's dead, which will probably be soon, because he's old, and he's planning, I think, 3 more of these after Covenant, to bridge the gap that we all want to bridge between Prometheus and Alien 1. So just Alien films, Avatar films, and Fast films till we're all dead, I guess. That's Marvel will perish, and it'll be those 3 franchises forever and ever.
Yeah, so the future is either sequels or
no sequels. No sequels, yeah. Endless prequels. So from one Alien film not happening to one Alien film that did happen. Sarah, tell us about life.
Yeah.
Not in the broad existential sense, but in the specific film starring people that we like, maybe.
Yeah. Yes, well, this is basically just a really bad version of Alien. And it's kind of really weird. Well, I don't know, is it really weird? But it's just kind of bizarre that they thought releasing this at the same time, or just before Covenant, was a good idea, because it's like... just rude, really, more than anything. But anyway, I guess films don't mind being rude. So
do they all go to dinner parties and just blank each other and stuff?
Know.
Like the concept of a film?
I assume so. I hope so. But actually, what's interesting, I think, is that the writers and directors... writers were the directors and writers on Deadpool. I was trying to figure out... Basically, the main cast is Jake Gyllenhaal, Ryan Reynolds, and Rebecca Ferguson. And so spoilers, but the one part of the movie that I do respect, sort of, is that Ryan Reynolds is the first to go. And it's pretty gross. And I was trying to go like, why? I mean, it's not unprecedented. It felt kind of like Scream or something. Yeah. But I was like, why? And then it was like, oh, Deadpool. Okay, I can kind of understand where this is coming from. So I did kind of like that he was the first to go. But I also think it's also always the way that the funny guy dies first. So I'm sort of like, let's get some merit, but I take away points as well.
Is it far into the movie he goes, or quite near the start?
Quite near the start.
Oh.
Yeah. It's definitely the first, I'd say it's the first act.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, it's not, that's kind of the one thing I'd give them credit for. And actually... There's a really great moment. I'm talking about this like it's really good. Okay, where basically the alien it's very similar to every other movie like this, that they discover alien life, they bring it on board, and they're like, we have to keep it, in its self-contained booth and everything. But then, oh no, it gets out, and Ryan Reynolds is kind of stuck in the wider room with it. He makes a break for the door. Jake Gyllenhaal's character slams the door, and there's a moment where they lock eyes. Ooh, is this going to be good?
Spoiler, it wasn't, I guess.
It wasn't. But then Jake Gyllenhaal's character is just the hero. I thought it was going to be sort of a bit of an examination of whether did he do it for selfish reasons? Did he do it for super unselfish reasons? But it's it doesn't really matter. There's all sort of questions about why would people do what they do. It doesn't really matter, because it's alien octopus thing chases people around for an hour. Spoilers.
so yeah, not good. Before it came out, I remember people saying there has to be a twist in it, because the trailer gives away, well, not everything, but the trailer gives away that it's a very typical, not at all special alien invasion movie. Except for the cast, which are weirdly good. So obviously Jake Gyllenhaal being the biggest draw, I think, just why is he in this? He doesn't need to do these kind of movies.
Yeah.
But there was no twist. Seemed to be the twist, that it was just exactly as by the numbers as it looked. And then there was that weird thing with the press tour when... Did you hear about this? When someone spotted that in the trailer, some of the Earth footage is reused from Spider-Man 3. Oh, wow. And people realised that the 2 writers actually were working on a Venom movie a couple of years ago. Is this a backdoor Venom film? And that was I was like, ooh, that's true. That's actually amazing, and I'm on board for this. So that's the Venom symbiote origin story. It wasn't, but in the press tour they were like, maybe, just because they knew you'd get people to watch the movie. So they were kind of pricks in that way. But I admire them just utilising the internet's rampant fanboy speculation for their own box office gain. So there was no post-credit scene where it landed on Earth and Tom Holland got in a fight with it.
No, not that far. But actually, I was quite amused in the credits at the end. Spirit in the Sky starts playing. And then it's
Stop
like,
using that song.
Richard is going to be really annoyed when he hears this.
It was fine when Guardians did it the first time round. Suicide Squad, pushing your luck, it's a bit used. And now another...
Yeah.
Stop space movies, we get it. Like, at least Suicide Squad was just, we're using it for no real reason. Oh, I guess it was a Portal in the Sky. Yeah, stop using it. Just, It's such an obvious song. Ugh. So it wasn't in the movie itself, just in the credits.
Just in the credits.
That's not as bad.
Okay, that's good.
Give that a pass. Fine. Okay, from one film that I know you hated to one film I know you probably maybe liked, and one I'm dying to see myself, Mindhorn.
Yes.
Did you see that today, was it? Or
No, I saw it at the press screening about 2 weeks ago now.
2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Quite a gap. Yeah, this is...
Is that a good sign or a bad sign?
Well, I don't know. There's quite a gap in between a lot of films.
Sometimes. You
Or,
get
well,
like
I don't
a
know.
single day some other times, I don't know. But,
Yeah, I suppose. Probably, yeah, it depends on whether it's going to be a blockbuster success
Probably,
or not.
yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, this is Julian Barrett's kind of vehicle. And I mean that in the best way. Like
You found it very Irish there, vehicle.
Yes. Yeah, this is his way of finally showing like the world of cinema that he is really, really awesome. And he's just great. So Julian Barrett he's the actor who played Mindhorn, which was a detective in the 80s on the Isle of Man who had an eye amputated and replaced with a sort of orb that could see the truth.
Of course, yes.
Yes. And so he enjoyed several years of success on this show and is now in the present a washed up actor who is called back to the Isle of Man when like a serial killer rings up saying that he'll only talk to Mindhorn, so believing that Mindhorn is a real detective. So yeah, it's wacky.
You don't
You can put that on a poster. Wacky.
Just ellipsis.
But no, it's also got a great cast. Simon Farnaby plays Mindhorn's body double, and Simon Farnaby is in the Mighty Boosh. The Mighty Boosh have these like arch enemies who are the Flighty Zeus, and Simon Farnaby is
Inverse kind of.
yeah, exactly, on that show. So here he's his body
cool.
double.
Right.
So it's quite a nice Easter egg for Mighty Boosh fans. There's other like Steve Coogan is in it, and yeah, Russell Tovey. There's lots of great actors in there. Although it's the one thing I'd be a little bit disappointed about is that Steve Coogan's character kind of gets set up for stuff that never follows through, which is a little bit disappointing. But no, in general, it's just very funny. Yeah, I would recommend.
Yeah, because it kind of came out of nowhere, didn't it? Like, I think no one had heard this movie before maybe a month ago, and then suddenly there was trailers and screenings, and it looked really good. I will say the trailer put me off slightly in that most of the jokes, at least they showed, seemed to be just him like poking his stomach and going, "Look how fat I am!" Like, is this all the jokes you have, or just saving the good ones for the movie? But
I mean,
aside from that, it did look good.
It's some of the jokes.
Okay, as long as not all of the jokes, that's probably fine.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's parts of it that fall a bit flat. Parts of it that are really, really funny. Like, I think overall, it's more entertaining than not.
That's good. Okay.
So yeah,
it is really like, because I know it's not based on any pre-existing property, but that it has the same rough structure as Alpha Papa does.
Yeah, no, it is kind of really strange, especially that Steve Coogan is in it.
Yes.
It's sort of like, did you not think that people might look at the two and go, well, we've kind of seen it? Like, there was no reason that they had to do that structure either, because as you say, it's not based on anything, or it's not.
See, it makes sense, I think, more so for this film than Alpha Papa, because that movie, I know when you're doing a movie or a TV show, you have two choices, either something like this or they go on holidays.
Yeah,
so like Alpha Papa did the holiday thing, kind of this does, or Alpha Papa did this. So I guess you can't really give out to it for that, but it is bizarre. Because that was like, what, 2 years ago? No, more than that probably.
Yeah, but not too long ago either. Julian Barrett, for my money, he should have been in movies long ago. Like, he's like one of my favorite actors. So in a way, it parallels his own life.
Oh, that's sad.
But I mean that I know that's a really mean way of putting it. But I kind of felt like it's kind of apt that he's playing an actor who never kind of got his day in the sun like he should have.
Do you feel that was intentional, like definitely, or just an unhappy coincidence?
I think there was probably an element of of it. But I mean, honestly, like, Julian, if you're listening, I love you. I mean, I'm not implying that he's like washed up or that anyone thinks he is, but I think he's probably making fun of the fact that he's kind of, getting on a little bit.
So basically, you're saying it's his Birdman, essentially.
Yeah, a little bit, but better. I didn't like Birdman.
I haven't seen this yet, but I'll probably agree with you on that. I didn't like Birdman that much either. Okay, we're going to go back a little bit in time here because, again, we've been away for a while. So this was probably the biggest movie of the year pre-blockbuster season. So Get Out, which, oh man, I've forgotten all the names. I know his name is Peele. Jordan Peele.
Yes.
Got it. Definitely directed by, written by him too?
I think so.
I think so too.
Yes.
Let's assume it was. Again, this one kind of came out of nowhere. I remember seeing the trailer for this before, I think, Resident Evil, and not being sure if it was a massively racist movie or a movie that was in on the joke. Because the trailer, if you don't know, it's by like Jordan Peele. It's meant to be a sort of satire. If you think it's a straight horror movie, it looks massively racist. But of course, it's satire, and it's very good. I think the weird thing is it became out to a lot of fanfare because it came out in America first and it had done the festival circuit and all that. Then it came out here about a month or two later, and there was all these think pieces, and it made so much money, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's an indictment of the middle class, pseudo not racist racism." And I was expecting more of a thinking movie when I went to see it. I thought it'd be very I don't know, European, I guess, is a way of really wankerly putting it. But it is just a straight, very funny horror movie. Like I didn't think there was many moments of actual horror in it. Like it was a horror kind of aesthetic, but it was more. I think it was more straight comedy from my mind, which is fine. But it's great. Like it's really funny. Yeah. And then also, think pieces. I know you liked it a lot too. Yes. I've forgotten what I thought about it, so you regale me your thoughts, and that'll jog my memory because I haven't got notes on this one for some reason.
I kind of found some of it was quite scary. I mean, maybe just...
There's some shots definitely. The bit when he's like running at your man from the garden, that was really creepy.
And actually, that guy in general...
really unsettling, yeah.
Yeah, because I actually think that his part, they're talking to the gardener, the groundskeeper. I think it's the closest the movie gets to... I genuinely couldn't tell whether I was supposed to be laughing or like crying. Like he was such a just a bizarre character. That I kind of felt like that moment was like, if you had to boil the movie down to a moment, that would be it. And actually, it was also nearly like a Key and Peele sketch in a way. Yeah. If it just had a punchline,
that's very true.
That would go quite well. But it was also very funny. Like the one line that stuck with me is when Chris, the main guy, is talking to his girlfriend's dad, and he says that Obama was the best president in my lifetime. And Chris goes, I agree. And it's just like, I just love that line because it's just kind of, I mean, it's not maybe the funniest, but it's just very clever. And like, it's kind of the only response you could give to someone saying something weird like that.
I would say if there's a weak link, it might be his friend, the wacky psychic character. Like, admittedly, I laughed quite hard a lot of his bits, especially to some of his absolute crazy rants about them kidnapping like black people to put them in sex cults and stuff. Like it's really funny, but it also feels like even for a satire that's meant to be comedic, it felt too broad or something. I don't know. It didn't work with the horror stuff so much, but I did really enjoy it. What were your thoughts on the reveal at the end? Because you kind of know something stupid's coming. Yeah. And then you finally get it. It wasn't as stupid as I thought it was going to be, but somehow it was stupider. I don't know. Good point. In a way, I feel like it would be more... I was waiting for something more elaborate, maybe. Yeah, same, I think. It's very kind of... As you say, it is bizarre. It's kind of... In a way, it's too bizarre, but it's also very kind of... It's like a neat little package. You know? Because there's so much set up to do with like the hypnotism and whatnot. But I was wondering, is it something to do with that? But then the way they're auctioning him off, and I guess we're doing spoilers. The reveal that it's just a really simple brain surgery that's not really a brain surgery. It's sort of transferring souls or like consciousnesses or something. And actually, I mean, I think that possibly comes from the fact that the setup has been so elaborate because, like, as my brother was pointing out, there was really no need for them to go to all the rigmarole that they do. Basically do what the brother does at the beginning of the film, or maybe do it a little bit more subtly than drive around at night. But like playing run rabbit.
Basically, friend a black person get them to your mansion and just like put them in the basement. Like you don't have to have a big party and have a weekend where you're, I don't know. I mean, although having said that, I've also heard other arguments would sort of suggest, well, for one thing, if you're that racist, you're kind of oblivious to how stupid what you do is.
Yes, that's not true.
But also, I suppose, just while I'm thinking it through, possibly the whole, have a big party, invite all the neighbours around to see your new person, is possibly them vetting him.
I think it was, yeah, because they mentioned at one point that the brother's tactic didn't work. Near the end, they say it didn't. I can't remember why they said it didn't work now, but they definitely mentioned why it was a bad idea to kidnap someone. I guess because that's when they went looking for him. Cause I forgot all the character names. The friend knew that one character had gone missing, so then they knew to look for him. Whereas with Chris, he's with his girlfriend, so no one really batted an eyelid when he come back. I think it was great. I really loved actor man playing the father, who was in Cabin in the Woods. I can't think of his name.
Was that Bradley Whitford?
That's the one.
Yes,
he's good.
I really like Catherine Keener as well.
Yeah, they're all great.
Yeah, they're like really, really just good acting. And actually, I did think that sort of the relationship between Chris and Rose was maybe let's
is Rose the
girlfriend.
The girlfriend.
Yeah, I think it was Rose.
What was the maid called then? She was Rose.
Oh. Okay.
Maybe not. I don't know. Okay, the girlfriend. Yes.
Yeah. So anyway,
probably Rose.
But like, okay. By the end of the film, obviously, you're not kind of really focusing on a boyfriend girlfriend dynamic or anything like that. But I really like the way they showed how basically a white person can't really understand what it's like to be a black person. Like she's just sort of oblivious to all the stuff that he puts up with all the time.
Yeah.
I feel like that's not something that we've seen in film before, really. Like.
Probably not, no.
I mean, okay, to be fair, I'm sure there's probably some great directors.
But like mainstream.
But mainstream, yes. If a white character is good and not racist, they're normally like
quote,
heroes, Like they're normally sort of all-knowing and just great, Like there's no sort of nuance to the fact like maybe they're sympathetic, but maybe they don't actually understand what it means to be black in your everyday life. So yeah, I just really like that. Yeah,
me too. I'm looking forward to seeing it again, I think, actually, because there was a lot of kind of hype the first time around. But again, I did laugh a lot, probably more than most comedies. I still think I wish it was scarier. I know you were saying you thought it was actually genuinely quite freaky. Bits of it definitely were, but I think on the whole, I guess it's kind of like Cabin in the Woods. Like Cabin in the Woods, I love it, but I'm like, it's not really scary enough to be a horror film. But so great. But yes, Get Out was probably one of the best films of the year so far.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Certainly better than Logan. Get that later. Next up, again, a little bit back in time. Now, you haven't seen this one, but you said you can talk about it. John Wick Chapter 2 or just 2? I think it's Chapter 2, isn't it? So, first of all, John Wick 1. I didn't watch it for a long time because everyone was giving it such hype, saying it's the best action movie in years. Keanu Reeves is amazing. I'm like, yeah, is he though? It's pretty good, John Wick 1. I quite like it. I think the world building is incredible. It's a really interesting universe they've made up. Yeah. Keanu Reeves isn't the best in it. He's fine. He's okay. He's better than he's been in a lot of things, but he's still not that believable as a cold-hearted murder man. Like he's like kind of physically very capable, and for like a 50-year-old man doing those stunts, incredible. But I still think his presence is just too dopey, and his cadence is bad, and he's not intimidating. This is more of than 2 than 1, I think. But yes, 1 on the whole. Solid, if over long action movie. Willem Dafoe horribly underutilized. But yeah, great action scenes. What were your thoughts on 1? Just quickly, we'll do 2.
Yeah, I know. I think I liked it a bit more than you, maybe. I hate making this argument, but I think that Keanu Reeves is sort of intentionally doing weird things with his cadence and his, I hate that making the argument because it worked for me, it didn't work for you. Like that's just a value judgment. Yeah, I love the world building. Like I thought that. Like the whole, it was just great. Like, what goes on in the hotel stays in the hotel. Kind of thing. I thought that the action sequences were really good. Like I was just impressed to see like very extended shots, and there was I hear the second one kind of screws this up, but in the first one they use guns quite practically. Quite realistically.
I thought 2 didn't make that mistake because he keeps switching guns an awful lot when he runs out of ammo. So I felt like maybe there wasn't quite as much bullet counting. I think they fire a lot more bullets in 2 than 1.
Okay.
Like 1, like that club scene, he has like, I think like 3 clips of ammo going in, and he uses every single bullet, then he's just using fist fights from there on. There seems like a never-ending supply of guns available in 2, but they do seem to at least keep it going.
Yeah,
the bullets.
sort of the criticism I heard about that was that you see every time he reloads, rather than like as in just going for the overkill of the realism, if you want to call it.
Yeah, okay.
But I really enjoyed the first one. So sort of the reason why I didn't see the second one, because I kind of didn't want that spoiled a bit.
Did you see the trailers?
Don't know. I actually can't remember. Sorry.
Because the trailers, I didn't care about John Wick 2 really at all either. And then the trailers sold me because they just had this really weird tone to them where it was sort of self-aware about, well, the first one was self-aware too, I suppose, but more self-aware and just playing all these classic music pieces but like techno infused, and like obviously you got what's Morpheus's name?
Morpheus?
Morpheus's name.
Morpheus. Oh,
God damn it.
Larry Fishburne?
Lawrence Fishburne, thank you. You obviously have him and Ruby Rose and Ian McShane. Like everyone, the cast number 2 is much bigger, and I don't know, the trailers I think sold me. But John Wick 2, I preferred it as an action movie, but I think the bits that weren't action are much worse. So the world building, still great. Still probably the best thing in it is the world building. But it's like there's just some weird stuff, like the fact that when they go to Rome and they go to the Roman version of the hotel, there's still like a black receptionist.
Oh, okay.
It's a woman, so progressive. I was like, are they just black receptionists everywhere? That's awful. And then you've got stuff like, see, the thing is, the action scenes again are the main draw, obviously, and they're still great, even if some of the things you heard probably aren't unfair criticisms. I didn't mind it because like the thing I liked about 1 was how video gamey it was, but in a way that couldn't be criticized. Like, anyway, that's common criticism of the last 10 years. Is, that action scene's too video gamey, like the Avengers or whatever. Whereas this one is, I think, even more video gamey, and yet people love it for that reason. I don't know why, but I think it's great. And 2, even more so, where there's so many people killed in 2. It's absolutely nonsense. It's great though. But the non-action scenes are some of the worst I've ever seen in my life. There's one scene in particular between Keanu Reeves and Common. I'm sure he has a real human name, but if he's choosing to use his rapper name in the credits, I'm using his rapper name. And it is one of the worst scenes I've ever seen in my life. It goes on for maybe at most 2 minutes. It felt like half an hour. It's the two of them sitting at a bar, and it's trying to be like a very old school scene of them like not saying much. So all they're saying is, you know that, yeah, but also that, yeah. But it's Keanu Reeves doing this and Common doing this, so it feels unending, and it's there's no score. There's nothing but this damn holding glasses of scotch, just looking dead forward, just saying, yep. It's awful. So that kind of crap is just terrible. Keanu Reeves, I think, is actually worse in this one, which maybe means he's better for your mind, but I thought it was awful. Everyone else is great. Ian McShane, in particular, I think is just brilliant. I could watch him. I think the third one might involve him more, it seems like, which is good, because he's great. I think a very good use of Ruby Rose. I quite like Ruby Rose, but also think she's not the strongest actor, and certainly hasn't got the strongest screen presence. But she's mute in this one, so it's all just her in sharp suits with guns, and it's good. It works. Yeah,
I heard a rather troubling commentary about the two movies, which is like the second one was better because the girl was mute in the second one. Just like,
was there a girl in the first one?
Yeah, it was Adrienne Palicki.
Oh, it was, I
actually really liked her.
I think she's great. She was really good in Agent Shield as well. There's not many things good in that show, but she's one of them. Yes, what about her actually? That's a fair worrying reading of it. But no dogs get killed, which is good, because like right near the start, you get the second dog. It's like don't do the dog thing again, because they do a fake out with the dog thing again.
Oh right.
Because his house gets blown up at the start of it, and the dog's inside. Like don't, and then they don't. But yeah, it's good. I do think it's weird that they clearly hadn't planned this to be more than one movie.
Yeah.
And now they're trying to build this really deep mythology around it, and the second one ends with basically the same ending as The Dark Knight.
Okay.
Like same shot almost. I was like, that's okay. So the third one will be the last one probably, unless it makes all of the money and they keep doing this forever. But yeah, I do think they need to be shorter. I think both 1 and 2 are overly long, and they're overly long for similar reasons to Fast and Furious, which is I think they mistake people liking action scenes for liking the characters, and I don't think there's much to the John Wick character. Certainly not enough to carry one of these movies. The supporting cast, I'd watch any of them except for Common. Just no. Everyone else, even Ruby Rose, I'd watch a movie with her as a protagonist, I guess, who doesn't talk.
It could happen.
She signs, like,
Yeah.
there's subtitles, like fancy titles, it's like Sherlock-esque ones. But on balance, quite good. Just less of the non-action scenes for me. That sounds like a very dumb person thing to say, like, more guns, less talking. But listen, the talking's that bad, man. You can't watch it. What were your what had you heard about it? That was
one thing that I'll credit my brother told me. It was for his money. There was no reason to be on John Wick's side anymore. Like in the first one, you're really sad because his
dog died.
Does his wife die?
His
And then
wife
his
died,
dog.
yeah.
And so like
and
he's
his
out-
car, and with the car.
Yeah, exactly. So he's out to get obviously ridiculous over the top revenge, but I guess that is the funny thing about the first one. By the second one, there's no you're not cheering for John Wick anymore. He's just kind of murdering people and.
Yeah, the thing about 2 is that they had to contrive a reason for him to come back, because the very start of 2 is him getting his car back, so that he's gotten his revenge, he's done, and then that's when the world building comes in. Like, they bring in this whole thing about this vow he made all these years ago, and that's been called in, and all that shit. And then the thing that he's asked to do is to kill this one mob boss lady. And I feel like they do a bit of a Macbeth with this one, in that if you'd seen him kill her, you would definitely have lost sympathy for him. But then she knows that he's going to kill her, so she just kills herself, like in front of him, just to go, well, you're John Wick, you're the best, so I'll just save you the trouble, slice. And then the rest of it is him running away from the vengeance of that, even though it's the thing the person wanted him to do in the first. Anyway, it's a bit stupid, and I can understand why. Yeah, you'd have no sympathy for him. But like, even in 1, it's hard to have sympathy for him because his dog died. But then the way everyone talks about him is like he's this legendary mass killer. He's basically the devil incarnate. Like,
Yeah, that's a good point.
So yeah, that's a fair criticism. I think 3 will be a lot of him on the run with his dog. Maybe Ian McShane will be there, but yeah, I don't know. It's not an unfair criticism. So, but I mean, when you're watching these massive murder movies, do you don't care about the main character? I don't particularly.
Guess not. That would be a good new genre movie, just murder movie.
Isn't that this most action movie?
Probably, yes.
It's called Kingsman. Sequel's coming soon. Can't wait. Yeah, so from that, tell us about Raw.
Okay, yeah.
Which I meant to see and heard great things about, but did not see.
I don't think I'm like going against everyone's kind of general thoughts, but I didn't enjoy it as much as people did, and I feel sad that I did. You know, like, I think it's a really good movie. I just didn't get sort of out of it what other people did. It's a French-Belgian movie, so it's subtitled.
Ooh,
Sorry.
Fancy.
Yeah, it's about this girl. She's a vegetarian who's going to veterinary school. Her first week of hazing, she's forced to eat a rabbit kidney, and after that she starts coming out in weird rashes and also really craving more raw meat. So it sort of just spirals from there into cannibalism,
as it would.
Lots of gore and blood and fun. It's actually, I kind of felt a little bit sorry for it, because I'd say it probably gets compared to The Neon Demon a lot, and I kind of feel like...
Which I only watched last night for the first time.
Oh, yeah. You have to talk about it, actually.
Did you like it?
I haven't seen it, but I assume I will, like, hate it more than anything in the world. Just from the descriptions of it.
See, I knew it was going to be quote-unquote extreme cinema, but the first hour, nothing happens.
Okay.
It's just really pretty looking, but nothing of substance. Keanu Reeves is actually in that one too,
yeah.
really briefly, and he's really good in it.
Ah.
But he's not used very much. But he commits. This is why I think you might be right with the whole him putting on the dopey thing, because he's really quite menacing and as good as a sort of sleazy motel owner. Second half has the more cannibalistic overtones, but even then, it's very. So it's not subtle, but it's not much of it. There's one bit of someone like vomiting up an eyeball, and that's about it.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't like that. I think it's extreme compared to what came before, because everything else is really kind of like clinical and cold and clean, and then suddenly it's like, they're just eating models. Oh. But from what I've heard about Raw, it's that it's the opposite end, where there's just too much massively gross stuff.
Yeah, probably. It is quite disgusting. I'm sure for people who know their sort of gore cinema, it probably...
You've seen a fair bit of gore cinema, though.
Not really. I mean, I wouldn't watch something like Cannibal Holocaust or anything like that. That would just...
Really? Yeah, I'm curious to see it. It's so old and goofy, probably.
Maybe. I don't know. I tried to see there's like a turtle scene. I couldn't watch it.
Oh, that's the one that's a real turtle, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. I don't want to see that.
No. The actual human killing, fine. The live animals, no good.
My thing about sort of why I think I didn't enjoy the Raw quite as much, because like it's kind of like they just try to pack loads of stuff in, and not even in terms of scenes of meat being eaten raw or anything like that.
Yeah.
But like it's kind of like they try to make it like a coming of age drama where just everything that goes in that category happens. Yeah, it's just really kind of hard to know what you're supposed to take away from it in a way.
Right.
The first scene actually had me a little bit, even just that had me a little bit confused, because first scene is Justine is there with her family in a restaurant, and she goes to the counter to ask for a vegetarian meal, and they're like, "What? We don't do. You don't want to eat any meat?" And so eventually they gave her like potato.
Right.
And it's our mashed potato, and there's like a lump of meat in it, and she nearly gets sick eating it. And they're all like, "Oh no, we should go and say something," but we don't. Should we? I'm not sure if the movie's saying vegetarians are like
inhuman.
Well, yeah, maybe. I was kind of wondering, is it saying that vegetarians are like scapegoated and just looked down on in the community, or is it being a satire of that, or like? So it's. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
So it kind of went on from there. Like, it's kind of just a movie that could kind of be interpreted in loads of ways, which isn't a bad thing, but it's just kind of, you come away from it being like, I'm not sure what that's saying.
Yeah, that can be a negative, definitely, because if there's no clear thesis to it, then like, what is the point? It's well and good saying, oh, but it's open interpretation.
Yeah.
But that smacks of like lazy filmmaking to me sometimes.
Yeah, a little bit. Something which I think is a good summation is that like it probably will go down well in academia. Like there'll probably be loads of
one of those films.
About, kind of, yeah. Which is not to say it's not like not bad and that not that there's not things to look into, but like at the end you might come out of it just being like, yeah, that was a movie. But you know, also I also enjoyed it and it was quite funny. So
right, is it meant to be funny?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, pretty sure. Yeah, no, it is very over the top. Like the gore is kind of, at least some of it is intentionally supposed to just be ridiculous. So yeah, it's a mixed bag.
Did you come close to like actually puking at any point?
No.
Okay.
There is one really horrible scene, but I wasn't feeling like I needed to get sick or anything. But you know, maybe some people might.
Have you ever come close to getting sick in a cinema?
I don't think so.
I did once. I think it was Jackass 3D.
Oh no, I wouldn't see Jackass. No.
I consider myself like quite a high threshold for this kind of stuff. I'm always like people going, "Oh, it makes me feel so sick watching this horror movie." Like, no, it couldn't. But then there's been Jackass 3D where why am I talking about this? Where they get like a really fat guy in like a big plastic suit on a treadmill, and then he sweats a whole lot, and then they like wring it out into a guy's mouth. And just as he's the way you just tense up, I almost puked. I actually had to hold my mouth. Oh god, I'm going to get sick in the cinema. Wow. I saw the one beside me and I put her head to her knees and it was like she was crashing into a plane. It was intense, but you know, cinema's gonna make you feel things. Jackass 3D makes you feel things. I think I've come across quite the Philistine here today. Like it's all dumb action movies and not about Jackass. And I got nothing better because next up it's Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Ooh. So you have not seen this yet. It's. I think we were talking about this before we started recording. Neither of us like the first one that much. I think it's fine. I think it surprised a lot of people, therefore got a lot of very good press, and it's very well regarded in hindsight. It's fine. It's just a remake of Avengers, but in space, with, I think, a less likable cast on the whole. Certainly less likable writing. I think the weak link for me in both 1 and still in 2 is Chris Pratt. Not in his performance necessarily, it's more how he's written. I think Star-Lord / Peter Quill is just genuinely insufferable, and the film as a whole marks its tone based on him. So it comes across really smug, and like everyone loves that first movie. I think the first half, it's boring. Like I genuinely hate that opening dance number. Like the opening credits bit, it's the first time I saw it, I was like, this isn't actually happening. I was like, this is really cringy and terrible, and I don't know this character, so there's no reason to be invested in this. It's just awkward and weird and bad. And even like rewatching the film, I watched it again last week before seeing the new one, and I'm like, no, I still think this is awful. Like, this is a crap opener. It's just so cringy. I don't know. It smacks of so being. If that was like the third movie in the franchise, that'll be fine. But yeah, I think once the cars are all together, it's good. And that's why 2, on the whole, I think I prefer to 1, because there's no origin story, there's no let's get the team together. It's just they're all here, so we can do character stuff. Good. The jokes on the whole, better, but with the same problem of half of them, not half, that's not fair. Maybe 2/3 land, 1/3 don't. Most ones that don't land, I think, are Chris Pratt lines. Again, Chris Pratt's great, I love Chris Pratt, but that writing, not the best. Similarly, Drax, it's a one-note joke, and Dave Bautista sells the hell out of it, but you can only sell it so much before him telling women they're disgusting starts being funny.
Hang on, which character is this?
Drax, the big, grey, literal one.
Okay, the one who hugs him in the...
Yes,
yeah.
that's the one.
Okay.
In a scene that I don't think's in the movie.
Okay.
They keep doing that, Marvel. Yeah, for me, the Baby Groot thing also, Baby Groot obviously is just there, exists to sell plush toys and figurines and iPhone cases, and there's too much of the look how cute it is. Like, please stop by the end. That said, tonally, it's much darker than the first one, but in a way that it doesn't address. So there is the best joke in the movie for me that I laughed the hardest at involves a severed thumb, and the implication of Baby Groot cutting that off from someone not knowing what he was doing. It's delivered to you, it's really funny, but also it's a severed thumb. Like, it's fucked off. And similarly, there's a bit when Rocket and Yondu are just massacring literally hundreds of people to a bit of jaunty 70s pop, because that's what the soundtrack always is. And it's just Kingsman. It's the same as Kingsman, except Kingsman was trying to make you go like uncomfortable at the idea of enjoying seeing all those heads explode to the tune of Land of Hope and Glory. Whereas this one's just like, here's the current scene, and no one seems to stop and go, you just killed literally hundreds of people that were like your allies 2 scenes ago. Wow. This is dark, but no one seems to care. Whatever. I will say what's impressive about it is they managed to find a character for Nebula, which is Karen Gillan's character. Because in the first one, she's there, and I think she was only there because Karen Gillan was playing her. Okay. She has nothing to do in the first movie. I think she was supposed to be killed off originally, and they went, people like Karen Gillan, let's leave her in. And good, because they made her a really compelling, interesting character with a very kind of tragic backstory that makes all of her actions previously seem justified, or maybe not justified, but sort of understandable. Okay. And I don't know how they did it, but they managed to make Thanos both a credible threat and a more well-rounded character, despite him not being in the film and just having people talk about him. Okay. So I'm not sure what that says about Josh Brolin, but he was more formidable for not being in it than being in a big chair smiling. But yeah, on the whole, it's pretty good. I was surprised how much I enjoyed it, because I, again, didn't like the first one very much. It's probably in the top 5 Marvel movies for me, I think. Okay. Like, I genuinely liked it a lot more than I thought I would. But I still think I'm getting severe Marvel fatigue. I kind of want them to just stop. Yeah. Especially this one. I know they're doing a third one, and Kevin Feige's all, this will be the start of phase 4, will be the third one, and it'll give us the next 10 years of Marvel movies. I'm like, yeah, should it though? I think this joke is on its course of 70s pop in space. Yeah. And just wacky characters being glib about, serious things. Like, that joke, yeah, I go see it though. Statistically, you already have. It's already made hundreds of millions, but yeah. It's fine. It's good. It's pretty good. Enjoyed it. Yeah. On from Guardians. Sarah, tell us about a real film, The Transfiguration. Oh, yes. Or is it just Transfiguration?
It's the Transfiguration. This has a lot of murder in it too. So
good,
it's
excellent.
Not, it's fine.
Is this a vampire film or something like a vampire? Yeah, I don't really know what this is. I've heard like the vaguest of details about it.
It's really good. Right. But the thing about it is about this kid who might be a vampire, but might just be a serial, might be sort of not right in the head.
I like that.
It's really interesting. It's by a first-time director as well, actually. There's a lot of really good horror movies coming from first-time directors, so that's a good sign.
So he'll be on Jurassic World 3 by next month, probably?
Yes.
Or hand out a Marvel movie or a Star Wars?
Yeah, he probably will. Yeah, I think he's actually set to direct Alien 6.
Really?
No. But, if maybe he will
Very
someday.
possible. No, Ridley Scott's not letting that
Oh,
baby
hang
go.
on, no. Update. Oh, it's not going to be made.
Ooh, those aliens.
Yeah. So it's about this kid who got a pretty rough life. Like, he saw his mum kill herself. He saw his brother was like in Iraq or did not quite mention, but a war, and is like pretty much emotionally crippled since then. And he's the only one like trying to pay the bills and everything. See, that's the thing. He kills people and steals their money, but does he also drink their blood? Is kind of the question. And then his sort of world gets turned upside down when a nice girl starts living in a like upstairs apartment. And then it sounds a lot more trite than it is. But basically, he sort of starts to question, does he want to be a vampire? Or does he want to
So he's a vampire,
not be
then.
a vampire? Well, his obsession is to find a realistic vampire. Like, he spends his time watching old movies and reading vampire literature. And he's basically wants to find like the most realistic vampire he can. But then the thing is, like, maybe he is that already.
Okay, that's really weird.
Yeah, no, it is. It's really, really weird. And the movie, it's so good at like mixing like horror and realism. It's like genuinely quite hard to figure out at times. Like, are things actually happening or not? Like, it's really, really good. And
it sounds kind of like what was it one before Christmas called? I Am Not a Serial Killer.
yeah,
Sound kind of like that, but the version of it that I was saying to you, whereby there was no monster and it was all just in his head. So, okay,
yeah.
I'm
Actually,
sold
it
on
is
that.
kind of a bit like that. That might be good to like see a double bill of them.
This real bleak cinema.
Yeah. But
That also used Spirit in the Sky. God
Yeah,
damn it!
yeah.
I knew there was another one somewhere. Okay, now go on.
that's kind of it. Like, I don't really want to say too much more because,
Fair
like, I suppose unlike big giant blockbusters, probably not a lot of people are going to see the Transfiguration. So go and see it, please. I think it's only on in the IFI actually.
Probably.
So please go and see it. It's just very, very terrifying and great.
Excellent. Right, I'll try and track it down. Okay, now we'll do Fate of the Furious. Sorry, Fast and Furious 8 for us European viewers. The Fate of the Furious in America, which is a much better title because it's really funny and stupid. Though I still feel they should have made like it F8 of the Furious, like Fate, like tech speak. That would have made a lot more sense.
Yeah.
I don't get why they changed the name because usually it's the European market that gets the fancy names and the Americans get the stupid numbered names. I don't know, but anyway, so this is the 8th film. Who thought we'd be saying that in the Fast and Furious franchise that had the biggest opening of all time? So yeah, Sarah, you're saying you've seen the third one?
I've seen the third one.
And that's it?
Yes.
Okay, I've seen the first two like a million. I can't remember them at all. Then I saw 5, 6, and 7. And I think this one, more than the rest of them, is definitely geared towards a Marvel-style fan base of these films. In that there's so many... Like, I can't even remember most of those movies. And yet, there's so many little continuity nods. They tried surprisingly hard to make this all tie in together.
Yeah.
And again, we're going to go full spoilers in this one. Near the end, Luke Evans' character shows up from the 6th one, I think he was the villain in. Who's obviously Jason Statham's brother, and they're just palling around with guns. And he's there for a scene, he's gone. They keep mentioning like the MacGuffins from the last two movies, and they do a weird Spectre-esque Blofeld Was Always Here thing with Charlize Theron's character, where she was actually the main villain of all the movies so far. And someone cares about this stuff, and that worries me. Like, someone... Wow. But basically the plot is Vin Diesel, aka Car Jesus. How did you find that opening scene? Because I thought it was one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I mean, it was atrocious, but I did kind of love it.
I kind of loved it, except for the fact that I know that there was no winking and nodding there. That was meant to be played straight. If I knew that was a joke, okay, to describe it to people, basically, he gets into a race with a bad man in Cuba because the bad man doesn't respect family or honor. So Vin Diesel races him in a car that's on fire and then ramps the car into the ocean, upon which he's immediately surrounded by small children. For no reason. I don't know where they all came from. And then the bad man learns the error of his ways because Vin Diesel is Car Jesus, and comes back later on in some flashback. I can't remember. He came back later on some way. That's the opening. And then Charlize Theron shows up and she's a bad woman. You know that because she's a white woman with dreadlocks and talks about hacking and stuff. And then the plot doesn't matter. The point is this movie cost a lot of money and it looks like it cost a lot of money. And I think it's genuinely some of the most batshit crazy, spectacular action I've ever seen. Like that bit, my personal favorite bit is when Charlize Theron's character, Cypher, I think her name was, because, hacking. Oh man.
Yeah.
Cypher. She needs to capture the Russian defense minister. So her plan is to just drop dozens upon dozens of cars around his car so his car can't move. And most of that was practical, not even CGI. They just dropped a fuck ton of cars from a car park. It's amazing. Like, hundreds of millions of dollars are spent on this, and it's made $1 billion already. Like, I don't know what this means for culture or humankind. I'm kind of glad it exists, but also saddened that I paid money for it and encouraged it, but want to see more.
Yeah.
Having not seen the previous 2 or 3 where none of the character dynamics make sense, and I'm sure they're referencing back to people who've died and come back from the dead and stuff. What did you think of any of this? Yeah,
well, actually, you were saying there that it was kind of really geared for a Marvel audience. What I was confused about was why are they saving the world? I thought they
rob DVD players and stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, I thought that they drove cars bravely and
yes.
I thought they were supposed to be anti-heroes, and I know they still kind of were, but they were way more Guardians of the Galaxy than they were. And Kurt Russell's in both those movies too.
No, yes, I think that's a confusion a lot of people had because I think the first 2 are obviously just regular small-time movies. The third one's a new cast, which I've not seen, but you've seen. And then 4 is when the reboot kind of happened, and they're just meant to be Robin Hood figures on the road. So they're still car people doing the car heists, but they're doing it for money for the family. And then the 5th one is when they're for some reason they need to do a really big bank heist in Rio. I can't remember why. And then The Rock's in that one because he's an FBI guy trying to hunt them down. And then 6 is when they became stupid. And then 6 is, I think for some reason The Rock just goes, you know what? Let's get that team of crazy car drivers to help me save the world in this spy movie I'm currently in. And then 7 onwards is just The Rock is their friend, and they're just now an international elite spy ring for reasons. The next one will probably be in space. I can't wait. Yeah. But yes, I can understand the confusion if you saw just the 3rd one and then suddenly they were just being hired by the government to save the world from hackers. I did love
the career ladder.
Yeah, they definitely did through their 8 films and billions of dollars in grosses. I did love that Kurt Russell's character, or Kurt Russell really just knew he was in a movie and did not give a fuck. So the point when he's it's great. That thing you're putting on the map, that's our building. Wall explodes. He doesn't care. He knows he's in a movie and there's no stakes for him. Wonderful. Helen Mirren. I knew she was in it. I was so happy. Her accent is woeful. I've never heard an actual British person do that bad of a home accent. But Helen Mirren, a Cockney, is not. Amazing though. Wonderful. Great. I love that her entire dynamic was just, hey, Jason Statham, my son, played nice with your brother, my other son. You two previous villains in this franchise. Be nice. And then Jason Statham rescues a baby off a plane. Yeah. It was magical. It was wonderful.
It actually felt very Kingsman, that part. I feel like
definitely.
They could bring that back for the next Kingsman movie.
If I had one criticism, I have a lot of criticism. Sorry, there's a long list, but the main one in capital letters is Tyrese Gibson, who is the most insufferable human being alive. I made the joke on Facebook that never have I wanted, because obviously Paul Walker died in real life during the last one's filming, couldn't come back because he's dead. Never have I wanted an actor to die in real life so his character couldn't come back in preview, because Tyrese Gibson was just the worst. If you don't recall who that was the one that made all the really shitty jokes about how big his dick was and stuff. Yes. Oh god, the rest of them, because I think Ludacris, the rapper Ludacris was the other hacker fellow, not the lady hacker. No, the guy hacker.
Not Melisande. No, Sunday.
Yes,
Sunday?
her. Yes. Not her. Her friend, hacker man. He's fine. He's also a rapper come actor. I presume Tyrese Gibson must have been a rapper or just a shitty comedy person. I don't know. But all the other characters are fine. Even Vin Diesel and his Car Jesus act. You can just about get... If he'd stop saying family for 5 seconds, it'd be nice. And every one of these ends with a barbecue. Every single one of these movies ends with a big family barbecue and a voiceover from Vin Diesel saying, family, man. Family. But yeah, Tyrese Gibson is a sore thumb. I would say horrendously unfunny, but I saw this in a packed Friday evening screening, and every single joke he made got a raucous wave of laughter from the plebs around me, and I wanted to die inside, knowing that I had funded this partially myself.
Hey, you're sounding far more elite already. It's fine.
That's the goal. I'm above all you people, except when there's cars falling from the sky, because Charlize Theron has a magic army of zombie cars. She's great, though. I just love Charlize Theron. I'm glad she's in things. She's actually, I think, a decent enough villain presence. Like, she's not given great material to work with, but she sells it. Yeah. She doesn't crack wise much. She's good.
Just kind of immediately reminded of Snow White and the Huntsman. Like that, I suppose. That
I loved her in that.
Sense.
She's much wackier in that, though. Like, that's far more over the top.
Yeah. I also did love that she was targeting individuals with nuclear weapons. That was a
yes. There's a fun question. What do you think her villain plan was? Because I've had debates about this.
Yeah,
because she sits down with Vin Diesel and explains her whole philosophy at one point, and it's really unclear what her goals are. So, what do you think her goals were?
Like, I honestly haven't given it a lot of thought. I mean, was it just general world? Yeah, just like, I will have all the power and no one else will have any of the power. I don't know.
Yeah, that's basically it, I think.
But I would like to hear more about what the specifics were.
I assumed it was that she was trying to take the whole anonymous hacker collective logic to its end point, whereby the idea of anonymous is like they're the fifth estate now. They're the kind of the check against governments and corruption and whatnot, because they can be anywhere and everyone. It seemed like her plan was, I'm going to get nuclear warheads and then fire a nuclear warhead. And then they'll know I'm serious about nuclear warheads. And then they won't fire nuclear warheads because I had nuclear warheads. I was like, okay, that's sort of stupid. Like, you're a nuclear deterrent. Seemed to be her plan. Sure, whatever. The point is, she didn't die. Back for a sequel. Can't wait. Yeah. Hopefully she'll take over the moon. I don't know. And I want to see Helen Mirren fight The Rock at some point. That would make my life. Yeah. The Rock is great, though. Like, I understand now people are like, The Rock is the new Channing Tatum, I guess. Everyone just likes him. I didn't much care for the opening bit of him teaching the haka to small girls, but he just about gets away with it and almost makes it work. Yeah, he is very, very likable. He is. I look forward to a spin-off movie with Jason Statham, where they just, I don't know what they do, just not have Vin Diesel around, which makes me happy, because no more car Jesus or family speeches. Actually, I also like that my theory is that Fast and Furious 8 took place in the Purge universe. Because I love the fact that there was just a giant pendulum that was like just prepared to like smack thousands of cars and hence thousands of people out of existence. Just like what? How did that happen? He's car Jesus, man. He turns water into Corona and fishes into wrecking balls for cars. The theory I've heard that I quite like is that this is the precursor to the Fury Road universe. It makes a lot of sense that the car obsessive culture continued into a weird godlike thing, and I guess Charlize Theron is still playing Furiosa, just in the future. I'm happy with that, which makes maybe Vin Diesel is Immortan Joe. I don't know, or The Rock. It's hard. It's unclear. But yeah, Fast and Furious. Don't. I'd rarely say this, but do torrent it. Please pirate it. Don't give it any money because it's already made $1 billion. But do see it. Skip every scene where there's dialogue. You don't need it. You don't need it. Get to the point where they're just chasing a submarine and The Rock is altering the trajectory of torpedoes with his pure manly muscles. It's quite spectacular. So, Fast and Furious. From that, I might quickly review very opposite end of the spectrum, Free Fire, which is the latest Ben Wheatley movie, starring an all-star cast of Cillian Murphy, Brie Larson, Armie Hammer, Michael Smiley, South African guy whose name I can never want to try and pronounce, because you know who I mean, the guy from District 9. Oh, okay. Yes. And who's in lots of other things. I've actually forgotten his name now, but I also know there's a name I can't pronounce. Sholto Copley? Sholto Copley. Go with that. Basically, the idea is it's the 70s. There's a arms deal going down in the warehouse. Obviously, there's some kerfuffles and mix-ups, and then suddenly it's just 90 minutes of all these characters with various degrees of minor injuries just crawling around a dirty warehouse shooting each other. It's great. It's really good. Ben Wheatley obviously has made for someone who's made like so few films, quite a diverse set of things. Obviously Kill List, and then they have like High Rise last year, and what was this comedy one? Sightseers?
Sounds right, yeah.
Yeah. There's another one there somewhere. But this is probably his closest, broadest comedic one. It's quite gory in places, but by and large you are here for this, a lot of really good actors giving really good performances. Quite a good 70s soundtrack, which isn't thrown in your throat a la Guardians. Brie Larson is probably the standout for me. I think she's always great in everything, but she's a delight here. Michael Smiley initially shows up, and I was terrified he'd try and do an American accent, but thankfully he did not. He kept his heavy Northern Irish twang, because him and Cillian Murphy are buying guns for the Ra from a South African, I guess, in New York. It doesn't matter. There's not much to say about it. Like, it is just 90 minutes of a shootout and people shouting at each other and screaming and crying. And actually, our old friend Jack Rayner, giant baby man himself, is in this one. And this is probably the most likable I ever found him. He doesn't look like himself. He had a big, awful like neck beard and wig and glasses. Has a pretty convincing Boston accent. I think he was from Boston. Certainly American. Yeah, good Jack Rayner use. Better than... What was the baby one? Was it Macbeth? Where he was a giant baby man on a horse?
Yeah.
What's he in next, actually? I feel like he's been cast in something big.
I don't know.
He's not on the new Transformers, I don't think. Only the last time.
Yeah, that seemed like quite a snub.
Was it?
Oh, I don't know, but... like,
is being left out of Transformers ever a snub?
maybe not.
Maybe he'll be in Fast 9.
Yeah, maybe. To shave his head again.
Yeah,
Maybe.
if you're a male character,
baby
you must be
more.
bald.
Yes.
It's just a lot of oiled up bald men in cars, and then like 2 women. Anyway. So yeah, Free Fire, massive thumbs up. Go see it if it's not already gone, which it might be, but if it is, it'll probably be on DVD in a month. So yeah, good times. And I think we'll end on, if there's nothing else you want to talk about.
Yeah, good to go.
Back to our Richard and Sarah are too cool for superhero movies. Logan, which got a lot of very positive press. I've heard comparisons to The Dark Knight. I've heard people saying it should be up for Best Picture. Things like that. I'm stalling. I'm trying to find my notes on Logan, and I know they're here somewhere. And there they are.
Hey.
Logan. So this is the final outing, allegedly, for Hugh Jackman, aka Hugh Jackson, as he's known around some parts. It's which continuity is it in? That's the primary question. So it doesn't matter, is the point. I think James Mangold said as much. It doesn't matter what continuity it's in. It's the end of Logan. It's the end of Patrick Stewart as Professor X. So, story is, it's basically, as Crash pointed out, Children of Men, but worse. It's plot point for plot point, just Children of Men.
Yes.
I didn't hate it, but I don't understand quite the love it's getting. Mainly because, first of all, I take massive umbrage with the Dark Knight comparison, because I love the Dark Knight. Like, I don't love Christopher Nolan that much anymore, but I think Dark Knight is like one of his like 3 genuinely really great movies. The Dark Knight is great because it's a good Batman movie, but it's an okay Batman movie, but it's a really good just movie that looks phenomenal, does a lot of good, interesting visual things, has a nice, interesting kind of thematic depth to it, a lot of kind of interesting questions and morality and blah, blah, blah. Logan is just 2 hours of Hugh Jackman screaming and stabbing people while swearing. Like, literally the first word in the movie is fuck. And it seems they got their O rating and went, swearing and blood, that's what maturity means. And I was like, no. Yeah. Patrick Stewart almost saves it because he's really good, and it's kind of sad seeing him being all old and frail and losing his mind. But my question for you is, and spoilers, did you feel anything when he died?
Not really,
no. Because we've technically already seen him die in this franchise.
Yeah,
he got blown up the last time.
Yeah. And I mean, just as people were saying as well, that is pretty much what you expect to happen. I mean,
exactly.
Like, you know, like,
there's no surprise there.
Yeah.
And people saying like, oh, I don't cry at movies, but I cry at the end. No.
Yeah. Oh, also another reason I didn't feel sorry or anything very much when he died was, well, he like essentially
caused the deaths
of everyone else. So yeah, like, I mean, yeah, maybe he's like senile, but yeah.
Yeah, if he hadn't been like, oh, one last family meal would be nice, that family wouldn't have died. He wouldn't have died. Well, yet. Yeah, like, that particular point in the movie is when it really, really annoyed me, because they bring in this wholesome black family. This has been a very racially charged podcast, I feel, so far. This wholesome black family who are the nice people on earth. And I was like, oh, don't kill them off tragically. Please don't do this. And as they arrive back at their house for a nice family dinner, like you see all these cars in the distance driving up the hill, like, oh no, here comes Richard
Richard E. Grant?
Richard E. Grant, thank you.
You're talking about yourself for a minute. That's a little worried.
Your eyes, they kind of look very perplexingly at me. Richard E. Grant. He's like, oh, no, here he comes with his army of bad men again. But no, it's just local rednecks who Hugh Jackman punches till they stop being rednecks, and then it's all good. But oh no, fake out. There's a second Wolverine that's bad, and Hugh Jackman, or Richard E. Grant is there, and he murders the entire family. And Patrick Stewart. I was like, you've lost me now, movie. Well done. I don't care now, because that was the lowest hanging fruit you could have done.
Yeah.
And they basically scream, like, we'll be killed in 5, 4, 3. Aside from that, the action is okay. It's very flat in places. I think the first time you see X-23, like, let loose, it's incredible. Like, seeing a small child, it has that kind of kick-ass one hit girl glee, where, like, seeing this small child just covered in, like, caked in blood, decapitating dudes, and just, like, cutting your way through many large men. Very entertaining. It's good. But by the end, like, the last action scene where it's all these kids just murdering people, I was like, I'm kind of bored, want to go home now. This has been, like, it's over 2 hours easily.
Yeah.
Didn't need to be.
No.
And there's just nothing to it. Like, there's no real, I hate saying this about a comic movie, there's no real thematic value to it. But there isn't. It's just like, getting old is hard. Got to teach the kids, the next generation, to be good. And I was like, okay, that's a very broad thesis, but sure, all right. But the thing is, about people saying, like, it'll get should get Best Picture nomination, it's the exact kind of film that would. It's overly long. It's very much just doing a stylistic thing that's harking back to an older type of filmmaking, which brings nothing to it, but just uses it.
When you literally show parts of the movie that you're trying to allude to,
the Shane scene, you mean?
Yes. You have probably lost me. Basically, like.
Yeah, that was. I actually laughed at that bit, because they're in a hotel room, and X-23, Laura, is her name? Laura, I think. Yeah. Patrick Stewart, Professor X, is showing Laura a movie, and this is the first movie she's ever seen, and it's the old western Shane, which was unsurprisingly a heavy inspiration for this movie, which is, it doesn't stop letting you know it's a western, you guys. And he's watching the final scene from that film with her, which is the big speech about like the old generation is too kind of soaked in blood, start a new life, young child, go forward. And immediately I just started laughing. Like, that's the last scene of this movie, isn't it? That's exactly what's going to happen. But the movie one-upped me. And instead of just having an exact parallel of that scene, she literally gives that speech that the character gave in that movie over Logan's grave. And like, that's just terrible filmmaking. Yeah.
Kind of weird because, people are kind of going, oh, it's such a great grown-up. I don't know, like, the comic book movies have finally matured.
Look at all the swearing they have now.
Yeah, pretty much. So what was all that came before that? If you're going to celebrate this one for doing, like, the big, brave adult thing, what about all the dozens of other movies that came before? Like, it's just kind of weird. Were you just waiting around for Wolverine to get old? Like... I don't know.
Plus Deadpool made money on R rating, so everyone can now. But even, like, I think you're going to go that route. I think Deadpool actually was probably more mature than this, and that was full of dick jokes. But, like, it had stuff that was more progressive in terms of like that Women's Day joke. I think is kind of funny in Deadpool. And I don't know, like, there's just nothing to Logan. It's one of those, like, it doesn't have much anymore where I watch a movie, especially like an action movie, and like, I don't want to watch that again. But I don't want to watch that again. It was boring. Like, if you got a half an hour of it, and maybe... I'm not sure how you fix it. Like, the screenplay, I think, from its inception is just too dull. It's too empty. Like, it is just... We're going to make a Western, so we're going to just take all of the visual tropes of Western and some violence, and that's the film. Like, First Class had more going on. Fucking Apocalypse had more going on, like, between its ears than this did. I know you're a big champion of the first two X-Men movies, which is fine. I think they're okay. I just think that some of this has aged a bit badly for me, but that's my own thing. But, like, those movies were trying to be about something. Like, they're trying to be about... I know the X-Men's always a bit nebulous about its civil rights or, like, LGBT stuff, whatever. But, it's like, they're trying to be about something. There's some subtext there. This is not nothing. It was just, here's Hugh Jackman with a convincing limp, stabbing people and covered in blood.
That limp actually really annoyed me after a while.
Yeah.
Like, it just kind of got into his. I assume it was meant to get into his fighting style, that he looked kind of clunky and stuff at times. But it was just like, yeah, we get it. You're old and your body's breaking down. Like, do something else. I don't care anymore.
Was there anything about it that shocked you, violence wise?
I mean, probably, but I can't really remember. What about you?
I know, like, the very first time again, like, that you see her just going to the town, and people are like, oh, that's pretty intense.
Yeah.
But there's one bit when, remember all that weird iPhone footage that the helpful nurse edited together at some point? And it shows like a kid just jumping off a roof to its death.
Yeah.
Like, wow, that's bleak. Though again, the question with that iPhone footage is, if she knew they were building a second Wolverine, why not just show the second Wolverine?
Yeah, she showed everything else in really good definition as well.
Yes, indeed. Did she orchestrate that breakout and just kind of go, action? Okay, now run.
Yeah.
Stupid. I did like, though, Richard E. Grant. I always like Richard E. Grant. He's always fun. I liked that when he was in the middle of his giant villain monologue, that they just shot him in the head and just cut it short.
Yeah, it wasn't the worst thing they could have done.
There was a nice version of that little trope.
Although he said the line that just annoyed me so much, which was, he said, you can't manage her rage, you simply design it. You simply design rage. Yeah. I just designed some rage there yesterday. Just that I don't know, that line just really stuck with me and just really annoyed me because it doesn't mean anything. Recall that line.
No, of course it doesn't. So I guess.
Yeah.
So since it'll probably be, October before you do the next one of these, what are you looking forward to in the upcoming cinema month or two?
I don't know. You say things, I'll try and think.
Well, I'm quite curious about Lady Macbeth.
Yeah.
I meant to see it at ADIF and I missed it, but it looks very good. It's getting great reviews. Can't wait to see it. You see, I watch good movies sometimes. This is a bad couple of months. Also, Catfight, which I think I just missed for the second time, but it's out on Blu-ray now. Looking forward to watching that one. It looks pretty good. Wonder Woman's obviously out next month. I have zero hopes for it being good, but I really want it to be good, or at least not terrible. Because if it does terribly, they will never give a female director any money ever again.
Yeah.
And now there's a story seeping out about them not giving it marketing money and it's being very undermarketed. And like, that tracks. Sure, they can do that, call it a failure, and move on.
Yeah, it's sad.
But yeah, from the sounds of it, go see Transfiguration and Torrent Fast 8.
Yes.
And yeah, Guardians is alright. Guardians is okay.
Yeah, see Raw.
See Raw.
Yeah, don't.
Did you see Elle actually?
No, I really want to see that.
Me too.
Yes.
I hear it's very provocative.
Yeah, should we do that? Should be our next.
Let's review it now.
Yes.
I have not seen it.
No, we'll do a whole podcast on it next time.
Well, I mean, apparently it's very open to interpretation. Not interpretation, but like it's very much, it's intentionally wrong footing, and it doesn't want you to have an easy stance on whether or not it's like, it's a pro rape or not, basically. So if we both come in with different opinions, we'd have like a good long hour about it and then not be friends afterwards. Discussing the merits of rape for an hour.
Yeah. I kind of feel like if I was going to do that, I'd also maybe watch Knock Knock, because as much as I've heard it's like just a misogynistic wasteland, I've also heard some people being like, it's the most
misogynistic
clever
wasteland.
Well, I've heard some people say it's like it's an incredibly genius satire and people are missing the points. I assume that is actually just a load of rubbish and it is a misogynistic wasteland, but I don't know. I'm like, my interest has been piqued. So
the only person I know that saw it was a former host, Jonathan, and he described it to me, particularly described some of the key scenes, and it sounds like it's a misogynistic wasteland.
Okay,
so
that's fine.
It might be, but I kind of want to see it purely because of how he described it to me, and the ending in particular sounds really funny, like not intentionally funny, but do you recall Dexter's Lab?
Yes.
Do you recall an episode where his dad gets buried in the garden at one point up to his head?
Oh,
something similar apparently happens in this, and I'm very curious now.
Okay, yes.
Also, Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
So, being maybe good? Okay, this is a movie where I could see the kind of dopey face thing working quite well. I just think John Wick doesn't make sense. He's meant to be a badass. Anyway, so that was us for the month of April, come May / maybe March and February.
That's it, yeah. And then we just sort of started
talking about other films we haven't seen.
Flowingly, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll probably see you hopefully within the next calendar year.
Yeah.
Month.
You'll pencil something in.
Pencil something in. Around Wonder Woman time, maybe, because that'll be probably the next big one.
I'll probably see it, so.
It's a big feminist. Yeah,
Yeah.
Sarah, it's you. You gotta see a feminist movie.
I know, I gotta support the gals.
It's going to save feminism.
Yes.
Someone actually posted a photo of their ticket on Twitter of Guardians 2, and it was just Guardians of the Gal because it cut out the rest of it, and then they're like feminist jokes came from that. So yeah, good times. Now we're talking about jokes we saw on Twitter, so it's gone to hell. Goodbye.
Bye.